Something was wrong with him. That's not human, man. You're not regular, man. He was the devil, man.
How are you rich and you're robbing people? You robbing producers. You robbing rappers. You got money.
So from what I hear, that documentary proves everything to be true. He is a serial killer, and he was a demon in human form.
King Von's name still echoes through the streets of Chicago and the hip-hop world, known not just for his music, but for the real-life fear he inspired in the industry. While many rappers talk tough on tracks, Von's reputation came from what he did off the mic. His street ties, fearlessness, and the chaos that followed him made artists think twice before stepping in his lane.
He was in jail for 2 attempts.
All the witnesses came up. That's how he got out. The FBI have already classified him as a serial killer. He done so many people.
Something was wrong with him. That's not human, man. You're not regular, man. He was the devil.
Was it ever a money thing for you?
No, it was just fun.
He was in a documentary laughing. You know how sick you gotta be knowing you this girl.
If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
I was relieved for the community, man, because he was over there them guys, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Some people need to be gone, bro.
But there's a deeper, more chilling reason why so many stayed silent or kept their distance. This wasn't just about lyrics or beef. It was about survival, loyalty, and a code you don't break. In this video, we're diving into the wild truth behind King Von's rise, his deadly presence in the streets, and the unspoken rules that kept even the hardest rappers cautious around him. This is the untold story of why King Von wasn't just respected, he was feared.
He was a serial killer who bragged about killing people, and he professed and confessed to be a demon.
He was that, bro. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
Von gave me a lot of passes. He could have killed me a couple times.
I was happy as hell when I found out Von was dead. I cooked for the whole day.
I was relieved for the community, man, because he was over there torturing them guys, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
His connections included Chicago rapper Lil Durk and street figure James Johnson, also known as T. Roy. T. Roy, a close friend of Von, was known as a feared figure in O Block, a section of the Black Disciples gang. Though small in stature, standing at approximately 5 feet 1 inch, he built a reputation for being relentless in the Chicago gang conflicts.
King Von, that was my brother. He was the realest person I had in the industry. He used to be on house arrest. I used to hit him, bro. I was coming to him. When I used to get to Atlanta, yo, I need some pipes. I need some sticks out here. Whatever. I'm coming to him, to his house. I'm pulling up. He used to have a few homeboys. They'd give me what I need. We'd kick it, chill, play 2K, whatever, to make him feel good while he was on house arrest, because he never liked being on house arrest. He hated this.
In Savage, Keef added, T. Roy, he got the semi, he'll send your ass to heaven. And in Self, he continued to feed the narrative, saying, T. Roy got a gun that's bigger than him. These lyrics reinforced the idea that T. Roy was more than just a friend. He was a trusted figure willing to handle business at any moment.
King Von was said to be scary, and some people defined him as a demon. Listen carefully.
But I was happy as hell when I found out Von was dead. Nigga, I cooked for the whole day.
King Von is one of the only few demons we done seen die who professed out of his mouth. He said, I'm a demon, man. I'm on demon time.
Cuz was a fucking, bro, he was that, bro. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
After T. Roy's passing, several of his affiliates openly praised his legacy. Rapper Boss Top referred to him as a fearless presence who showed no hesitation when it came to gang-related activity.
Von was he was a different individual, bro. He was manic. He was, you know what I'm saying? Shorty was crazy. He was on that.
One of Satan's greatest soldiers was King Von. That's why he can tell the story so well about the people he killed to captivate the minds and the hearts of so many young people.
Are you a fan of King Von?
Struggling with the constant ridicule he received due to his short stature, T. Roy decided to protect himself in the one way the streets respected. He armed up. Determined not to be targeted again, he didn't just carry any weapon. He made it a point to secure the biggest and most intimidating firearm he could find, making sure anyone who crossed him understood the consequences. But according to some close to him, T. Roy's transformation into one of Chicago's most feared shooters wasn't solely due to bullying. The real turning point, they say, came after he witnessed a traumatic event that would alter the trajectory of his life forever. On August 10th, 2011, at around 11 p.m., a tragic incident shook the streets of Chicago. O.D. Perry, a respected and beloved member of the WX City Gang, was gunned down while riding his bicycle near the 6,400 block of South Martin Luther King Drive. It was a quiet night, but that silence was shattered when, according to witnesses, a suspect with dreadlocks approached Perry, pulled out a firearm, and fired several shots at close range.
Me, T-Roy, all us, Vaughn, we all used to be in cahoots. Yeah, used to have guns, but we just used to have it so that the big guys wouldn't call us. It's just like when you grow up in the hood and it's like, you ain't getting no you ain't no nothing, you a lame, you a goofy, so niggas finna do what? We finna try to do all this. We might not even want it, but like we finna try to open ourselves up to it so niggas can't talk about us.
2 individuals were reportedly seen fleeing the scene, jumping into a waiting car that sped off. O.D. was left on the street, critically wounded and bleeding. Before help could arrive, T-Roy, who had been close to O.D. since childhood, held his friend in his arms. Former O-Block member Jay Hood later revealed that Perry's final words to T-Roy were simply, "They got me, bro." O.D. Perry's death sent shockwaves through the community. He wasn't just another casualty in the ongoing gang violence, he was a local legend, admired by many within Parkway Gardens. His murder would mark a turning point for the neighborhood. In tribute to their fallen friend, members of the WX City Gang renamed themselves O-Block, forever honoring his legacy. The funeral was packed with mourners. For many, it was the first time they had experienced the death of such a revered figure at the hands of a rival gang. But for T-Roy, it was personal. That moment, watching his friend fade in his arms, ignited a fire in him. From that day forward, those close to the situation say T-Roy committed himself to avenging O.D. Perry's death by any means necessary.
Roy just different, you know what I'm saying? He was a real enforcer. Shorty is a savage on another motherfucker that was feeling.
The death of O.D. Perry sent shockwaves through Parkway Gardens, but no one appeared more affected than the young man who had cradled him in his final moments, T-Roy. What started as horror at seeing a local legend bleed out quickly turned into a cold, determined resolve. According to those who knew him, something shifted in T-Roy that night. That trauma, that pain, became the fuel for a darker path. Former O-Block member Jay Hood later revealed that the loss didn't just sadden T-Roy, it completely transformed him. Having been present for O.D.'s last breath seemed to mark a line in the sand. From that moment, there was no turning back. The sentiment on the streets was clear. O.D.'s death would not go unanswered. Before the tragic loss, T-Roy was not a major figure in street violence. Though he carried a weapon, those close to him described it as more about survival and peer pressure than aggression. Among his most talked about victims were Boss Trell and Lil Doc. On January 8, 2013, T-Roy, King Von, and 2 other associates piled into a Chevrolet Impala and rolled through enemy territory, specifically the area around 63rd and St. Lawrence. That evening, Marlon Monroe, also known as Lil Doc, had been helping his aunt by painting her building. After hours of labor, he went out to grab a drink from a nearby store, but he never made it back. As Doc walked toward the store, T-Roy jumped out of the vehicle with a weapon in hand. Without hesitation, he opened fire. Doc tried to flee but was struck by the gunfire and collapsed in an overgrown lot beside the store. When police arrived, they initially cleared the scene without finding his body. It wasn't until hours later that Doc's remains were discovered, hidden in the weeds, his death marking another chapter in the growing violence that was sweeping through the area. Liggins, well aware of the looming danger in Chicago, had been preparing to leave. After surviving multiple attempts on his life, first by OB 600 members and later by individuals including King Von and Big A, he made the decision to start over. The plan was to move to Iowa and begin a new chapter. Boss Trell had purchased a bus ticket and even posted about his fresh start on Twitter, writing, "Can't wait till I get my new start." But that message proved fatal. The tweet, though hopeful, alerted his enemies to his intentions. For those involved in the ongoing conflicts, allowing someone to walk away wasn't an option. Retaliation was considered unfinished business. The circumstances of his death would become another dark chapter in Chicago's long-running cycle of gang retaliation. And for King Von, who would rise to fame shortly after, it would be yet another loss that shaped his music, his path, and his mindset. The story of T. Roy, O.D. Perry, and King Von shows the deep consequences of gang life, where legacy is defined not just by records and accolades, but by who survives the longest in a never-ending war. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about how T. Roy's story shaped the rise of King Von and the O-Block legacy? And if you made it to the end, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives like this. You won't want to miss what's coming next.